I want to talk about the impact specifically. And again, you're a zombie guy, so I want to hear your thoughts on what you saw with the preview, but the impact, how the impact is going to take Xbox Game Pass and specifically Series S sales to the next level this fall. Let's get into it, man.
Yeah, so you touched on a lot of things there that I want to kind of dial into.
By all means,
Um,
this is a conversational podcast. Go crazy.
so you brought up obviously like the price point, and the price point is something where a lot of people feel gouged in the market in general.
Yep.
Everything is more expensive right now. Things are not as easy. A lot of people are not buying those impulse buys, as you mentioned, like the Series S. Something at like a 199 range makes perfect sense because
Yep.
even though people are trying to hold off a little bit more than they used to, 199 is not a bad price point, and that definitely reaches that impulse territory. We're in a really weird generation where we haven't seen this type of stuff happen previously, where the consoles have retained their price point the way that they did so far. Now, granted, Switch is off in its own little world. Nintendo does its own thing, so you can't put them into the formula because Nintendo is always going to Nintendo. They're going to do their own thing, but Sony and Microsoft, like you look at these consoles, and the consoles have not dropped in price, with the exception of like little holiday discount deals, stuff like that.
Yep.
It's not like the generations we're used to. Like I remember getting the original Xbox on a deal. It was one of the 2 games bundles. It came with the controller, and it was like 180. And that was only a couple of years, maybe a year after the thing came out. And like that was amazing. That was at a time where like I obviously much younger, so I couldn't afford things as much, and that price point was clutch. Fast forward to now, prices aren't dropping the way that they used to. And that's why Microsoft even brought out the Series S, is because they knew it would be a good purchase point for a lot of people. Not necessarily for someone who needs all the extra bells and whistles or anything, but they want to get down and play some games, right? So I definitely think that there's something to the idea of having Call of Duty on that box and dropping that price around the holidays. They will sell a lot of consoles. Will it turn around the discrepancy that they have? Because obviously like hardware sales are down in general, not fully,
No,
but they
no.
will
It's
definitely sell some units,
yeah,
right?
yes, they will.
So that's going to be a good thing for them. But you also, you mentioned the brand awareness, right? Like number 7, I think you said, in the world.
For PlayStation,
um
yes. Yep.
and it's one of those things where like you look at Call of Duty, and that's one of those things too where it's like everyone knows what Call of Duty is. Whether you've played it or not, you know what Call of Duty is. Even if you've never even touched it, you understand in general what Call of Duty is. And so that's one of those brands, just like a Grand Theft Auto, that has that impulse nature to it. It's got some of that nostalgia for some of us older folks who have been here playing the games for years and years. But when people see those names on these systems, and then you also say, by the way, you can have this in a service that's already baked in or whatever, that will draw some more impulse buy as well, along with the price point. um Now, in regards to what we ended up seeing for the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and the zombies, so traditionally, I haven't been that big of a zombies guy personally. This looked extremely good, and I am really excited about it in a way I don't think I have been for a while for the zombie modes. Um, I dipped my toes into a few of the last ones, and it just never really grabbed me. Uh, but I loved the ones back in the old Black Ops games. Like back in the day, I really enjoyed that a lot. This looks really good. I'm usually traditionally more the multiplayer guy, playing your TDMs, your kill
Right.
confirmed, hardcore stuff like that. But this looks good, and it's been a long enough time. I feel like that I want to dip my toes back into something, and I wasn't as sure about it until I saw that video, and I'm definitely on board now. I'm excited for it. It's going to be good, and it's going to be a huge game for this year, right? Like, if you're anywhere in that window of time for release, pretty much all the air in the room is swallowed up by Call of Duty, and rightfully so. They have bad years, they have good, like really good years sometimes. This one looks like it's bringing a lot of new movement and traversal and stuff to the game that I'm really excited about. And I think this one's going to do exceptionally well. Obviously, have Game Pass people already baked in. There's a lot of people where it doesn't matter what the case is. I think we've talked about it before, but like, you got people that are going to for sure purchase Call of Duty and Madden every year, right? So you'll already have those guys baked in. You'll have all these people interested because it's now on Game Pass. So why not play it? Because you already have it in your library, right? So this is going to be a big year for it. It looks like Call of Duty's coming back in a way that we haven't seen for a couple of years. I'm stoked. I hope I answered all your questions. I feel like I meandered a little bit.
No. Listen, brother. Listen, that's. I know I dropped a lot of information there. Obviously, your opinion matters. If you're one of the bigger horror guys in the community, along with Fuzzy and his wife. Obviously, there's quite a few other. Wilmy Hood is another one that is a huge horror guy. Dreadpool used to be a part of of this podcast and had to leave for work reasons. Him and his wife, super big horror fans. This I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people. And again, I don't know about how much of a gap they're going to close with console sales, Fuzzy. And at this point, I don't think Microsoft cares about console sales. They care, but not the way Sony cares about console sales, because they have Game Pass for console, Game Pass for PC, and PC's making some big strides for them. This is going to be on Xbox Game Pass for PC, and PC is the biggest platform in gaming, regardless of what anyone else says. It is the most gamers in any one spot. The challenge might be mobile, but listen, it's big, and it's going to be big for them. Fuzzy, I pulled Clobriel's tweet. Of course, Clobriel, if you're not following him, shame on you folks. Follow Clobriel. He is not an insider, but he is someone that talks about video games, specifically is an Xbox fan. And he, of course, he does great graphics that, a lot of us have used. He put out a tweet regarding the 17 minutes of raw zombie gameplay provided by Activision. And this is what he had to say. Here's some of the bullet points. They have round-based zombies. The round-based zombies are back. That mode is back. Zombies introduces a new save and quit feature for solo play, which is right for this guy here. You'll be able to save your progress and resume the match later. I think that is freaking dope. If you are someone, I don't have kids, but I'm always doing something. And, obviously, I'd like to be able to come back to it. I can't believe that. I honestly don't believe that feature even exists. It sounds like the unicorn or the Loch Ness monster, but it does. Zombies can be played in first or optionally a third-person mode. I mean, I'm sorry, what? Classic prestige and weapon progression will be shared between multiplayer and zombies. That is dope. Custom HUD presets, including Black Ops 3 Legacy-style HUD options to toggle health bars on and off, and of course, it finishes out post-launch support, more round-based zombie maps, and more. And he says, looks awesome. Honestly, Treyarch clearly put a lot of effort into zombies with Black Ops 6. And of course, coming October 25th, day one in Xbox Game Pass, Ultimate Console PC. Buzz, let's get into the impact of this game, because I don't think people are talking enough about how big of a deal this actually is.
Well, the first thing I'd like to start off with is I'm pretty sure there are some meetings now about regretting not making this next gen only.
1,000%.
We saw with NCAA 25 how well it did, although EA on the back end of things also is making Jedi Survivor previous gen now, but maybe that's because of licensing, that it didn't do as well per the licensing numbers that they need. But all of that aside, I think with Call of Duty, this would have been a console mover had they made it next gen only. I know there's still quite a few people on PS4s and Xbox Ones that are enjoying a lot of the games this generation or during this time period. But I think if this had been full on next gen only, I think this would have been a easy mover for the Series S from a price standpoint. But it would definitely get a lot of those that are still on PS4 and Xbox One between now and the holidays, at least,
Yep.
probably into this current gen. But getting into the game itself, like with Black Ops 6, from the stuff that we've seen and the movement we've seen, people are already excited for the base game, and zombies being that add-on just makes it that much more enticing. Um, it looks like they've learned from not only their previous zombie games, but other zombie games like your World War Z's or your Left 4 Dead's and things like that, and have taken a little bit better or a little bit more of a look of those types of games to some extent. And if you're going to be able to do a third person perspective as well, I think that's something that Call of Duty has kind of recently been dipping their toe into with some of the onload mode or online modes and things. So it's great to see that they're continuing that. I'm more of a third person perspective player, so having that is like the extra icing on the cake kind of deal for me. But yeah, they've definitely stepped up movement. They've stepped up the variety of zombies. They stepped up the variety of environments. The prestige and leveling and everything along those lines have been improved over like previous years and stuff. And this is one I'm actually going to give a try. Like, I haven't really, I think it was like maybe Black Ops 2 or 3 was the last time I played. That was when my sons were a little bit younger, and that's all they basically did was the zombie mode. And it's like, oh, border up this place and try to find
Yeah,
the
3 was the
machine
last
stuff.
time I played. Yeah, it's been a minute for me as well.
Yeah, so this is actually going to probably get me back into it just because it's more of the style of zombie style game that I prefer. So them mixing this up in that sense and having it where it's got the Call of Duty movement and gunplay, yeah, this one's going to probably do a bit better than some of the previous ones, just on the base game alone. But having zombies be this much more of an improvement over previous ones, I think this is their probably one of their top selling Call of Duties, or it'll be in the top three of all time. So
Yep.
we'll see how it goes, but man, if they had only made this next gen only, I know Microsoft doesn't really care about console sales as much as their competition, but this would have probably been an easier task for them to meet some of those numbers or exceed some of those expectations, just because, like I said, people were buying Series S's to get NCAA. They're not really looking for 4K resolution. They're fine with 1080 or 1440 and playing the game that they want and that hasn't been around for a while. I think they would have probably done the same. If they didn't pick it up for NCAA, they would have picked it up for this. And if they didn't pick it up for this, they would probably pick it up for GTA 6. So the just next gen only games need to be a thing. We're 3 years, almost going on 4 years into the generation at this point. Yeah, I think it's time to move on type of thing.